think about emotion and stress, we think about mental health. I would say it's mental health. However, our emotions, the stress and emotion does not affect us only in our mind. So that's why I call it emotional body. So every emotional experience, event that we have, especially the ones that we have an emotional charge about, they actually are stored both in our mind in terms of the stories, so the stories that we tell, that have a content, the context, the narrative. Like, when I was 5 years old, my dog died. I was run over by a car. Or when I was 7 years old, I got a prize at school. So it was positive or negative emotions. They are stored in our mind. So it's conscious, and we call it explicit memory because we have a conscious awareness of it. Now, there's another part of the every time we experience an emotional event, another part is called implicit memory, and this might be something that you may not have heard before. It's actually in form of energy blockages that are stored in our body, and they are highly unconscious. So what happened is, as our nervous system and our brain develops, it's not until the age of 3 that typically from the age of 3 or 4 years old that we have conscious memories. Now, most people don't have memories of what happened to them at 1 year old, even though you still, you're a baby, you're running around, and however, we don't remember. So not until 3-4 year olds that we actually have conscious memories. So what happened before that the emotion of that event is still stored in our body. But we are not consciously aware. However, it's stored in such a way that if we come across an experience, an event that will trigger that button, so like similar events, and because it's non-resolved, non-integrated, we react to that. So sometimes you may have experience that you may meet someone you never met, and somehow you just don't like them. It could be, and sometimes it could be just be their vibe, or however, sometimes people can literally have their body would say, someone walk in the room and their body just go from the, and they are not even aware of what's happening. But it's a body reaction, and you are not aware. So what happened is because that is something that happened before the age of 3 that you don't have a conscious memory, however, it's still in your body. So when you come across that same experience, your body will react to it. Now, the implicit memory that happened before the age of 3, because they are not resolved, so what happened is when we come across experiences that elicit that same reaction, it just becomes bigger and bigger and bigger, and that's why sometimes today we might have an emotional reaction to something that we don't quite understand why, and it could be something really small, but we don't know why that is eliciting such a big response.